again, thank you, Chris, for inviting me and introducing me. And English is my second language, so I hope you understand. Pay attention. Huh? I will speak slowly. I am not a good storyteller, so I wrote it down this morning, and maybe I could read it. At first, I am Father Nam Nguyen. Nguyen is a family name, and I share with table that you can see common name in Vietnam in Nguyen. You can see everywhere, everyone in Nguyen, right? Because we follow like the king at that time. The king named Nguyen, so many people they name Nguyen. But in Vietnam, we call the people by their first name. So we don't call the family name. So that's why you can call me Nam. I am religious priest. I belong to the order named Society of Domus Dei. Domus Dei is Latin word that means the house of God, and is original from Vietnam. So I back to the introduction of my order, that you can know some idea about my society. Huh? You know the history of Vietnam, Catholic, back to 1627, when the Spanish Jesuits, the priest named Father Alexander Road, he came to Vietnam for evangelize in the northern of Vietnam. And he had a vision to establish a group, and he named the House of God. The group, they have the priest to teach catechism for the people, Vietnamese people, and they live with the priest in the church. They cook for priests. They help them to wash clothes and take care of the garden and have catechumens. And he called the House of God. It's the foundation of my community. And you know, Father Alexander Road come from Spanish, and he is the one to establish Vietnamese language. It's really interesting. The missionary came to Vietnam and established Vietnamese language. And right now we speak Vietnamese because thanks to Father Alexander Road from Spain. And you know, over the next 300 years, the group named the House of God faced many challenges due to Vietnam wars, and especially in 1954, and you know about that, following the French defeat in the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. And after that, they separate Vietnam in two parts, North and the South. So many people, especially Catholic, they moved from the North to the South Vietnam. And at that time, the group named the House of God, they came with the priest and the Catholic. They moved to the South Vietnam to live. And at that time, they don't have leaders, so they separate. They live in their family. They don't have a leader. And the bishop of the north of Vietnam, they saw that, and they sent the priest named Joseph Mary. He came from the north of Vietnam to the South Vietnam to reestablish the group, the House of God. And after that, he founded our community right now. It's the name Society of Domus Dei. That means the House of God, as I mentioned above. However, after the event, 1975, right? Many priests and religious brothers from our community, they come to United States to fight the freedom to come out of the communist in Vietnam, and they come to New Orleans, Louisiana, and they go over there and they establish the house in the United States. And currently, our mother house still in Vietnam and in Saigon. And we have in Vietnam 150 members, and including 70 priests And in the United States, we have 45 members and within 30 priests. And we serve in New Orleans, Dallas, Seattle, Lansing in Michigan, and Oregon and California. That's the very brief of the history of our order. And right now, I know you want to hear why I become to a priest, right? And I know some of you, you heard my story in St. Monica, but I want to share it again. You know, I joined the order at the House of God in 2010 when I was in my third year of college. Looking back on the past 15 years now, I'm deeply grateful to God as my entire journey has been a gift. He has guided me from the moment my vocation first began to take root in my heart, all the way to become a priest, and I know He will continue to guide me throughout my whole life. I grew up in a small, poor village where my family owned a small farm. We raise cows and cultivate crops like coffee, black pepper, corn, and rice. And my village had no church, no chapel, only a tiny chapel. And suddenly, we only had Mass once a year on August 15, which also happened to be my birthday. However, this is not because of my birthday that we have Mass, but because of the solemnity of the Assumption of Mary, which was the feast day of our parish. So the priest come to the chapel and say Mass for us. As a result, I only saw my pastor once a year. While my parents could attend Mass, we young ones who had not yet received the Holy Communion, we have to stay home and let a chance for the older they come to the parish because of the transportation at that time really difficult. We only walk, but in the forest and like the rural streets, we don't have the transportation to go. I longed to attend Mass, but was unable to. I dreamed to become an altar server, but with only one Mass a year, those opportunities were reserved for others who were more experienced, not me. So in my mind, the priest seemed like someone holy and revered, someone with immense power and respect. He had the authority to transform the bread and wine into the body and blood of Jesus. And with just few words, he could forgive sins. That was my initial motivation to become a priest, to gain power and to love by everyone. And in Vietnam, priests are deeply respected and loved by the people, especially in my time. So, and when I was in middle school, my teacher asked the class, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And in Vietnam, they're communist and they are non-Catholic a lot. The teachers is non-Catholic. Some said they wanted to become doctors, others teachers, and so on. When it was my turn, and I raised my hand and said, I wanted to become a priest. I have no idea what I was talking. And my classmates who were not non-Catholic, they didn't understand what I meant. So I explained that the priest is like a father of the church, but they don't understand and they laugh at me. So at that time, in the same time, my older sisters, she want to become a Dominican sister. However, after several years of discernment, she had to leave the order due to her health issues. My mother was heartbroken. She cried a lot, and he fell to serious ill because she always hoped that one of her children to become a priest or a nun. That's why I saw my mom cried a lot, and I promised to myself, I will become a priest to make my mom happy. So initially, my reason for wanting to become rich were driven by desire for power, for love for my others, and make my mother happy. But over time, I came to realize that these were not the right reason, right? And is it the first thing God make in me? Thankfully, God works in mysterious way, using even my misguided motivation to lead me to in His path. And through the guidance of the priest in my community, I gradually learned that to be a priest and to serve other, not to be served, but to serve other. That's why I want to become priest. And Linda just asked me, what is my favorite thing to be a priest? And I told her, like, I'm really happy to see when the people come to Mass and hear their confession and they grow in their spiritual life. I'm really happy. You know, when they come and they cried in confessional, it's make my heart felt. And, you know, I'm really happy to when I give the absolution for the people and see their life change in a good way. And you may question like, what is the most challenges when I become a religious priest? You know, one of the greatest challenges in my religious life is living far away from my family. And by the way, you know, my parents have 9 children, and I am right in the middle, like a sandwich, right? Have a 4 and 4. And I also have one younger sister. She is a non-religious sister. And you know, I entered the novitiate house in 2010 at the age of 20. And since then, I have lived far from my family. In Vietnam, the formation to become a priest take a long time. We have 1 year for come and see, and 2 years live in novitiate house. And at that time, we like separate from everyone. We don't have cell phones. We don't have internet. We don't have mail. We don't see my families for 2 years, unless some members in family pass away, and we can come back to visit them. And then 2 years, and that's the one thing that my challenges. And you know, after novice house, I took the first vows, and my superior, after I graduated from philosophy in Vietnam, my superior sent me to the USA to study theology, and I study in Connecticut, the seminary named Holy Apostle College and Seminary. So I was terrified because my English was the subject I hate in school. I don't like English, so I struggle a lot, and I never thought I would able to be learn it. You know, I have to use English every day and learn it. But my superior encouraged me that God will help you to study. So I obeyed him and came to the U.S. to study. And you know, in 2021, during the COVID, right? COVID hit and the pandemic, I had just graduated from theology when I received the news that my mother had suffered a stroke in 2021. And I could not visit her, and I felt very sad. I questioned why had I chosen this path when God seemed to have forgotten my family. But you know, when I called to my mother when she recovered a little bit, I spoke with her, and she told me, I am ready to carry the cross so that my children can be saved. So you just have to have faith and continue on your path. God always had the best plan for you. That's what my mom told me. Her words deeply moved me and strengthened my resolve, then continue my journey. And you know, I was ordained in July 23rd, 2022 by Bishop Edward Burn in St. Joseph in Grand Prairie. And in 2023, my mother suffered another heart attack and spent 11 days in ICU. And I fear I would never see her again. But by God's grace, she recovered. Now she needs a wheelchair, but she always remains joyful and always encourage her children, especially me and my younger sister, to be faithful to God, faithful to the vocation. And she always said she willing to carry the cross for her children. That's one of my motivation to continue my journey. Is a wonderful mom, and yeah. That's the reason that I become a priest. And I thank you, all of you, for always pray for vocation, especially for priesthood. Many people, they think like priest is so holy, so don't need the prayer of the people, but it's not. We are human, so we always need your prayer. So continue to support us and pray for us. Thank you so much.